think this is probably episode 8 I've done now of this Grief Diaries. And where are we? Where are we? You might be able to see in my face, I'm feeling really emotional at the moment. I think it's funny, like I've mentioned this in previous videos about how it's one of those things, I think, as strange as it sounds, it's very much like out of sight, out of mind. Um, and I bought a digital photo frame actually, like shortly after Mum passed away, just because I don't really have photo frames. Like I don't really keep photos up. I've never really been one for photos and stuff like that. But I wanted something to, you know, to remember her by, and it kind of sits on the table out there in the living room, and because of the position it's facing, I don't really see it, which is kind of a bit stupid, really. It's the only place I could find that had a kind of decent plug socket. Anyway, without getting into all the details of it, um, I intentionally was having a look through there earlier, and it was really, really sad. Um, you know, I mentioned before in a previous video about how there is this kind of um residual sadness, and some days it's more pronounced than others. Sometimes I won't really notice it so much, but it is always there. It's like a kind of feeling and a sensation in like the pit of my stomach that I can kind of very much feel. Um, Maybe it's a hollowness. Maybe it's difficult to describe really what it is. I think the feeling can change depending on like the context of the situation. Um, but I think this is like seeing those, pictures again, and just seeing Mum smile, and just remembering, the energy that she brought, the kind of energy, this like amazing, peaceful, smiley energy. Um, it's really sad, and it's kind of just, it makes you think about the extent of the loss, you know. I was actually just looking at my phone as well at some of these pictures, and like it's so. I think as well the other thing that kind of made me feel sad is like, when I look at pictures of don't know if you'll be able to see that, of like us together. She just, her smile in those pictures, you can really like see how much me and Ben meant to her. I don't know why that makes me sad. It shouldn't really make me sad, but it does. It's kind of, I guess, endearing in a way. Just like the the love, in her eyes, on her face. Just when you see other pictures of her, alone, or when she's taking a selfie or something, it's just so different. Like you can just feel it, you can feel it radiating from the picture. And can still think about, I can kind of picture just how excited she would always be, when I like when I hadn't seen her for a while. Say seen her for a while, it'd probably been like a month. But she was always so excited to see me. Just her face would be like beaming. it's such an interesting thing. Such an interesting thing, grief. It's like so it's kind of just fascinating really to think about how, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I can just totally not be thinking about it. It doesn't come up day to day. It doesn't um distract me like but it's there. And when I think about something or look at something or go back into those memories, it's very real and it's very, very raw. It's kind of like, I guess, an open wound that it doesn't heal really. Like you cover it up, but if you poke it and prod it and touch it, and whether that be through looking at pictures or memories or whatever, it is still an open wound, you know. um Yeah, it's interesting. But again, at the same time, I am also very grateful for what it's brought me. It's just my life has become so much richer, and so many beautiful things have just been unfolding, and even just getting more in touch, I think, with my emotions and being able to feel more and to, really um embody those emotions more into everything I do and into my state of being. I'm very, very grateful for that. And again, life does feel just so much richer because of it. This whole experience, it's kind of it is like full color. Um, yeah. Yes, and it's a really interesting thing. I don't know, like, I mean, other than that, there hasn't really been there hasn't really been a huge amount of other things. Again, it's only really today that I've thought of that. Other than that, it's been a really good week actually. It's been really good, and like I say, like overall, I think I mentioned this in the previous video, I think, but there's naturally, I think, when somebody when somebody passes away, that it's like kind of it makes space for lots of new things, and it's very much like a time, I think, for change. It does inevitably spark change, and I very much feel that's what's happening. I feel myself being like reinvented in real time at the moment. um it's like kind of, who am I without these people in my life anymore, these two very pivotal figures in my life, in my upbringing. Like, who am I without them? So it is an opportunity for reinvention as well, and that's really exciting. It is really exciting, but it is just it's so heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that they don't get to see this. Although, there is a part of me that kind of says, well, they are. You say they don't get to see this, but they do. And I feel that as well, I really do. I mentioned this in the previous video as well. Like, I really feel that in the core of my being, like, that they are there, and, they are kind of watching. But it's the physical presence, I think, that kind of leaves that, um, that hollow feeling, that feeling of sadness. And again, especially when you see the pictures again and you feel that energy, and that's when the absence of that energy um, becomes very real, and it comes to the surface, and that's what brings up these emotions. So that's where things are at the moment. Um, that's pretty much all I've got to share today, really. So I'll see you guys in the next one.